DK woke up to the sound of raised voices outside his compound. His heart sank even before he opened his eyes. He knew it was trouble again. He glanced at the other side of the bed where Uloma, his wife, lay, sound asleep. She looked so peaceful that it was hard to believe she was the cause of his sleepless nights and constant embarrassment. DK, come out here, Iman's voice thundered. With a weary sigh, DK pulled on his wrapper and stepped out of the hut. His barn was in chaos. A group of young men were angrily unpacking his yams and throwing them onto the ground. DK stood motionless, his eyes fixed on the stolen produce, his mind racing with the familiar ache of his wife's latest betrayal. What is going on here? DK asked, his voice heavy with frustration. One of the men, a tall and broad-shouldered youth, stepped forward. Your wife, Uloma, took more yams from Chief's barn than he asked her to. She was supposed to take 5 tubers, but she took 20. We've come to take them back. DK's chest tightened. He clenched his fist, but kept his voice steady. There must be a mistake. Uloma would not. Stop pretending, DK. Another man spat. Everyone knows your wife is a thief and a liar. Hold your stop before she brings more disgrace to your family. The words stung, but DK said nothing. He watched helplessly as they took the yams and stormed off, muttering curses under their breath. When he turned to go back inside, he found Uloma standing at the doorway, her arms crossed. What was that about? She asked, casually yawning. You tell me, Uloma, DK replied, his voice trembling with anger. Why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep embarrassing me? Do you want to ruin me? Oh, don't start, DK, she snapped, brushing past him. I did nothing wrong. Those boys are just jealous. I took what was mine. They just can't stand to see me doing well. Doing well? DK echoed bitterly. By stealing? By bringing shame to my name, to this family? Uloma rolled her eyes and walked away, leaving DK standing there, feeling small and powerless. How could something so beautiful turn so ugly, he thought to himself. 6 years earlier, when DK married Uloma, she was the envy of every man in the village. Her beauty was unmatched, her smile captivating. She had seemed so calm, so gentle, like a dove. DK thought he had found the perfect wife. Uloma could cook like no other woman in the village, her soups drawing praise from every visitor. She kept their small compound spotless, with her laughter echoing through their home like a melody. But perfection was a mask. It didn't take long for the cracks to show. Less than 6 months into their marriage, Uloma's true nature began to reveal itself. She was loud, disrespectful, and flirted shamelessly with other men, especially the wealthy chiefs in the village. One evening, she came home carrying baskets of goods from the market. Where did you come from? Where did all this come from? DK asked, puzzled. Oh, I ran into an old friend, Uloma replied with a sweet smile, her eyes never meeting his. They insisted on buying me a few things, and I couldn't say no. Look, they're so beautiful. DK wanted to believe her, but he was wiser. The troubles came, one after another. Village chiefs would be seen leaving their compound at odd hours, and the neighbors were whispering. DK's reputation suffered with each passing day. He was a good man, calm, loving, patient, which made each betrayal cut deeper. One day, an elderly woman pulled him aside. DK, open your eyes, she said. Your wife is bringing disgrace to you. Yesterday, my son reported seeing her with Chief Obi, and not in an innocent way. DK's heart sank. It wasn't the first, but with every report, it sounded like the first. He said nothing. He wanted to confront Uloma, but every time he tried, she would either deny everything or turn the tables on him, accusing him of not trusting her. The worst incident happened when their 5-year-old daughter, Omalicha, was sick. She lay on the mat, restless. DK was out in the fields, while Uloma was in the compound, gossiping with her friends. Can't you keep quiet? Uloma snapped, staring at the girl. You're disturbing me. Frustrated, Uloma grabbed the child, locked her in the hut, and went off to her friend's house. When DK returned that evening, he found Omalicha barely conscious, her small body burning with fever. Where is her mother? He asked the neighbors, but was met with blank stares and silence. He rushed Omalicha to the village herbalist, who started treating her immediately. What happened to her? He demanded, looking angry at his wife as she walked in. She was sleeping. Uloma lied, talking casually. I just went to the market to get some things. I do not need to get this bad. DK knew better than to argue. Years passed and Uloma's behavior only worsened. She picked fights with neighbors, spread malicious gossip, and brought strange men into their home. The years passed and Omalicha grew to understand her mother's true nature. By 10, she was a lonely child, other mothers warning their children to stay away from her. "You will become like your mother," they would say. One afternoon, as he walked back from the farm, a furious woman blocked his path. "Dike," she shouted, her face red with anger. "Control your wife or I will. She's been spreading lies about me, saying I sleep with people's husbands. If she doesn't stop, I will deal with her myself." "I'm sorry," Dike said softly. I will talk to her. Don't be angry. You always say that," the woman snapped. "Do something or you regret it," she said as she walked away angrily. When Dike got home, he found Uloma sitting under the shade, eating roasted corn. "Uloma," he said, his voice heavy with weariness, "why do you keep doing this? When will all this stop? Don't you care about this family? Don't you ever get tired?" Why are you always blaming me?" she retorted, throwing the corn cob aside. "People are just jealous of me because I'm beautiful and successful. They're just jealous. Can't you see it?" "Beautiful?" Dike muttered under his breath. "At what cost?" By the 10th year of their marriage, Dike had had enough. Friends and family urged him to send Uloma away, but he hesitated. Despite everything, he has once loved her. But before he could act, Uloma found out about his plans, and she suddenly became the perfect wife, cooking his favorite meals, keeping the house clean, and even showing affection to Omalicha. For a moment, Dike allowed himself to hope, but it didn't last. Within days, Uloma was back to her old ways. In their 11th year of marriage, Uloma left the house one morning and didn't return for 4 days. At first, Dike wasn't worried. This wasn't the first time she had disappeared without an explanation. But by the 7th day, he knew something was wrong. The village search team found her in a herbalist home in a neighboring village. She was barely conscious, with her body covered in bruises. "What happened to her?" Dike asked the herbalist. The woman sighed. "She came here after a terrible ordeal. I heard she agreed to sleep with 5 brothers in exchange for 2 plots of land. But they were brutal and she almost died. She's lucky to be alive." Dike's stomach tightened. He felt a mixture of anger, shame, and pity. When he brought her back to their village, he didn't take her home. Instead, he went straight to her parents' house. "I've had enough," he told them firmly. "Take your daughter, I can't do this anymore." Her parents begged him to reconsider, but Dike was resolute. He returned home, packed his belongings, and left with Omalicha. Dike and Omalicha started a new life in a distant village. He refused to remarry, saying Uloma's troubles were enough for a lifetime. As for Uloma, her beauty remained, but her reputation was in ruins. No man dared approach her, and she lived a lonely, miserable life, surviving only by associating with wealthy men who wanted nothing more than her body. Uloma often came to beg for forgiveness, but Dike and Omalicha never let her back into their lives. For them, the chapter with Uloma has closed, and they were determined never to open it.